Am I unmuted now? Wonder. Ooh, why does YouTube mute me? Tell me, YouTube, why you mute me at the beginning of my streams? Anyway, so I was supposed to do the other part of the religious ode today, and I just could not do it. I did not have nearly enough energy in me. I basically had enough energy in me to get done what I needed to get done today, and that not much else. I needed some rest. So I will probably be doing that content tomorrow or later today, basically. That said, I really enjoyed last night's stream. It was really fun. It was the most viewed desktop stream that I've done since I started doing those. So that's a really good sign. That's really awesome. I feel like every time I open stream, it is the "here we go again" meme with the mute. I know, I hate it. I really do hate it. It's hard being a woman. I mean, yes, but I will say, like, it's getting increasingly hard to just be like a human being in general, regardless of your physical identity, gender identity, race or ethnic origin, etc., etc. The squeeze is getting tighter on everybody. It is hard being any gender. Exactly. That's the based take. Now we're ready. It's hard being so pretty, no one knows my pain. I feel ya, Margot. It's the struggle of the century. Do people call you pretty, or do you call yourself pretty? I don't know if you're talking to me or Margot, but, like, even people that a lot of people would consider ugly are going to get pretty compliments from some people. Beauty is an incredibly subjective thing. You don't have to be drop dead gorgeous to get a few people that think you're pretty. I'm a staunch right-leaner. I'm struggling now because I'm pretty sure World War III is going to jump off. Well, I'm not trying to rub salt in your wound or tell you I told you so, but I will let you know. The left has been warning about this exact problem for a while. Now, I'm not saying the solution was to vote Kamala, because in this specific instance, I don't think Kamala would have done any better. But that's why I think we as an American people need to move beyond like Democrat and Republican in terms of how we think about politics and start actually thinking about what does it mean to be on the right versus what does it mean to be on the left, because I think people are starting to realize that both parties are right-wing in nature. Both parties serve the bourgeois interest. Both parties serve the owner class. And the more people realize this, the more hope we have for trying to push the system in a better direction. It takes people knowing what's going on for people to understand that they need to do something about it. Much less, like, before you even start telling people how they fix the problem, right? Before people even get to that stage, they have to be shown that there is a problem. And it sounds like you're starting to notice it, right? It sounds like you're starting to pick that up. And that's good. Phoebe, I'm here, don't worry. Aw. Hi, Taylor. Type of person to claim witchcraft thinking it's a sinner countercult to the given power because everyone knows magic is real. I just like the symbolism, man. I feel like you're reading way deeper into it than I like. You're reading way more meaning into it than I put into it myself. Just saying. Salute, hello from France. I love your decorations. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Are you the kind of person that doesn't rewind the VHS before returning it? Aren't you a relic from a bygone time? These days, there's nothing to rewind when you go to return a movie. If you are lucky enough to live in an area that still has a video rental place. That shirt and jacket combo is so cute. I know. That's what I always think every time I wear this shirt. I always think, like, should I put the vest on this time? Because I think it's a cute combo. Be kind, rewind. Exactly. But these days, you don't have to rewind anymore. It's not, like, important. There is no rewinding anymore. Why are we even talking about this? All this shit going on. So, in yet another giant fat L on the mountain of giant fat L's in J.D. Vance's tenure as vice president, his attempt at peace talks between the U.S. and Iran has failed clownishly, incredibly, amazingly, to the extent where the United States has announced a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, which, by the way, is just going to drive oil prices up even higher, and Iran has its own oil. And even if they can't get it through the Strait of Hormuz, Russia and China can still get that oil through land-based means. Like, the countries that, like, import the most Iranian oil can continue to get that oil without transiting the Strait of Hormuz. So it seems like some kind of action towards further strengthen that region, and it seems like us trying to, like, take control of the conflict. But in reality, it's an escalatory gesture that's not even going to, like, it's not going to tighten our grasp on the situation at all, because it's just basically furthering the already in place Iranian policy. They are already preventing most traffic from transiting the strait. The US is basically to say, well, we're going to cut off the rest of it then. Well, what's that going to do? Blockbuster? I hardly know her. Thank you for the $2, Margot. And yeah, Blockbuster is way gone. Gone. Now, of course, some people are going to be saying, like, oh, that just means the U.S. Navy is going to be escorting ships through there. Not likely. The IRGC has already turned away U.S. Navy ships that were attempting to transit the strait. Holy, the amount of transphobes and generally nasty behavior in the chat is sad. It can be really, really rough in here. This chat is definitely an environment for thick skins and people that like to, if you like to get shot off on a transphobe, in a nice verbal argument, this is a nice chat to hang out in because you get plenty of opportunities to roast people in the chat. You've been brainwashed to spew anti-American propaganda. Well, you've been brainwashed to never fucking believe that your country can do any wrong. You've been brainwashed to believe only pro-American propaganda. Which is better? I think it is better to be critical of your country in all cases than it is to be blithely supportive of your country no matter what. That's the American way, as it turns out. The First Amendment was incorporated into our Bill of Rights for a reason. Dissent against the government being protected being chief among them. Gifted memberships from King Bugs. If you're subscribed to the channel, you can get these gifted memberships. So that's why you should subscribe. Woo! Thank you, Gang Bugs. I appreciate it. Least homeschooled looking leftist. Yeah, I definitely was not homeschooled. I don't know what that means. That yeah, okay. Yeah, you stumped me with that one. I'm happy that you're being yourself. I'm happy that you don't let it bother you, my angel. Yes, no, never. Never. I farm these people for content. I don't let them bother me on a deep and profound level. Of course not. That would be so silly. That would be so terrible. Bro, you would not survive any other country outside of the US. Just another motherfucker that does not understand that the United States has a propaganda environment that creates this complete misapprehension within its citizens about how the rest of the world functions. Americans are led to believe, literally, I'm not even kidding, you are taught from childhood as an American that America is the only country with free speech, that America is the only country with free expression, etc., etc., etc. But the older you get, the more you find out that that's just total horseshit. And when people are complaining about some, lack of freedom of expression or something outside of the UK, they are almost always complaining about some person being locked up for being like an open fascist Nazi that's like trying to advocate for genocide or something like that. It's somebody you're glad that their speech is being stomped on. It's like, okay, yeah, sorry, I guess like there's some limits to it, but um this idea that the rest of the world is full of countries where you can't be yourself is just complete horseshit. In fact, there are tons of other countries, especially in like what we consider the West, that treat trans people a hell of a lot better than America does, especially when you consider the fact that pretty much every other country on the planet has universal health care. And if you're in a country that has universal health care and recognizes trans rights, then you're going to be able to get all of the gender affirming care that you need without any direct out of pocket expenses. Which is about as pro-trans as it gets. I don't need gender affirming care. I'm normal. Well, that's great and all, but you should still support like wider access to gender affirming care for trans people because it increases the quality of life for everyone in society broadly. Because trans people can get their care. Therefore, people that are trans are more likely to come out as trans and get the care that they need. Therefore, less likely to be frustrated and angry in their personal lives, etc., etc. Like, for every other reason that, like, I'm sorry, for like, there are so many different things that we do as a society because it improves social cohesion, and like embracing embracing trans rights and embracing trans people's ability to um, get the care that we need is, to me, just seems like another one of those really like fundamental, seemingly um, seemingly benign things that we could do, that I think would have actually a pretty profound effect on the social cohesion of a society in general. Because if you look at societies where people tend to be happy, that seems to be one of the policies that's a suite of the things that they all do, you know? Like most of the world's happiest countries are in like Western and Northern Europe. They all have a bunch of different things in common. And I'm not saying that this is like one that's got a high level of importance. Obviously, I think like universal healthcare is a way more important one. a, um, a big social safety net is an important one. There are things that are more important to social cohesion and a society getting along, basically. There's obviously things that are way more important to that than trans people's visibility and our access to care. But it is one of those commonalities among happy societies, along with all the other things that they do right. Oh yeah, more gift memberships. Look at that. Bugs coming in clutch. Hi Larry, what you smoking? Stuff. Gas station J's. Who assigned the guitar? TJ Kirk, Scotty Kirk, and Paul Zigo. That's Scotty's, that's Paul Zigo's. TJ's has mostly disappeared, but he wrote This Machine Fucks Janists. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce it, but my dumbass arm rubbed it off before I could realize that I had rubbed it off, so now I've got to have him like rewrite it, or I guess write something else next time I go to a DFF meetup. You put Kitty to sleep. I do have the most calming and relaxing of voices. It is rather late. It's a good combination for putting Kitty to sleep. What are the patches on your vest? There's so many of them. I've gone through patch tours before. Thank you, King Bugs, for the gift memberships. If I didn't clarify that, or if I didn't say that, that's my bad. By the way, if you would like to support the channel the way King Bugs is doing, consider gifting some memberships of your own. It can only help the channel. Another way you can donate is via Cash App, which is linked down below, or via Super Chat. Cash App is preferred because they don't take a cut, and I get it instantly, but you can also do Super Chat. That is also really great as well. The Bible is made up storybook. You don't need a book to tell you murder and rape is bad. That's true. People make the argument all of the time that you can't determine morality without the Bible. But I'm like, that's just so silly. Like, even kids have like a somewhat innate sense of morality. It starts to emerge really early. And like the older you get, the more that develops. But like on some level, people have like an innate sense of what is right and wrong. People have like an empathy uh, response that dictates the limits of a lot of our behavior. Um, Not only that, but when it comes to um, hairier policy details, things that are a little more specific, you can determine a lot of what you should do there by just looking at what works, looking at what policies produce happier societies. Why do the illiterate try to make witty comments? It just comes out like they sprung a leak. I know. Every single time somebody that reads at a third grade level tries to be witty or funny or come up with a witty little joke in here, it reads like a toddler trying to spell their first sentence and failing miserably. And I'm never able to do anything with it because it's not written in a way that allows me to read it with a funny delivery. It's just garbage. It's like, it's wasted data. Think of how many megawatts of energy were consumed to power enough internet infrastructure for that moron to type out a barely literate, half-baked comment in my chat. How do remain unemployed dress like this? Or spell like that? I wouldn't hire a motherfucker that wrote like you on the resume in a fucking minute. In a year. With no other applicants. A lot of trans people have your hairstyle. A lot of girls in general these days have my hairstyle. Bangs are not that uncommon. I've got thicker bangs than a lot of women have, but like bangs in and of themselves, pretty common. Do you play the instruments? I'm legit jealous of your bangs. My bangs do not be banging. I don't know how I lucked out with like such well-tamed bangs either. Because I don't know. Like whenever I had short hair, it was always very curly, and I never wanted to stay to any one direction for long. So it's kind of weird to me that now that I've like cut it and done this to it, it stays that way. But it has for years now. So thank you for the $10, Margot. I appreciate it. Iran is going to win. I tend to agree. I think that us introducing a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz actually strengthens their control over it, because it's not like they're going to be able, like the IRGC is already, like earlier today or yesterday or whatever, turned away U.S. Navy vessels that were trying to transit the strait. So it's not like the U.S. Navy is going to be able to protect passage through it. All they're offering to do, all they're suggesting that they're going to do is to stop Iranian ships transiting the strait. But what is that going to do but continue to drive the oil price up? Like Iran will remain flush with oil. They're the ones exporting the oil that's going to be stopped by the Navy according to this blockade. So what's going to happen to that oil? Okay, well, they're going to have to ship it overland, which is going to suck and cost a lot more money, but Russia and China can do it. They can, and they will. Even India can if it has to, and India can get it quicker than either of the other ones can. Yeah, Iran is only losing if you're talking to Americans, and even then, if you're only talking to uninformed Americans. You talk to a motherfucker like me that knows what's going on, and it's pretty obvious which way the wind has been blowing in this conflict. Iran has been investing in overland trade for the past 30 years. Well, that's what I'm saying. They have been putting in infrastructure in expectation of this very issue because they knew, like, you guys have to understand, Iran has known since 1979 that America and Israel are the big enemies that they have to that they have to combat against. They have known since the 1970s um, that we are not going to stop trying to reconquer them, basically. We're not going to stop trying to put in a Western backed ruler over their country. And as a result, they have been building up their country towards a direction that enables them to withstand the conflict that they see as inevitable. Not because they want conflict with us, but because they recognize that we are fundamentally unhappy with any government in Iran that cannot be made to eventually allow Israel to expand its borders, and with any government that cannot be tightly controlled by Western powers. We want control over that oil, over those ports, over that strait. We want it. And they've known that for a long time, and they've been building towards that inevitability for a long time. That's why they've got a strategy in this war, and we don't. That's why they've got leverage in this war, and we don't. Thank you, King Bugs, for the gifted memberships. You know I appreciate it so much. I always love to see it. Thank you a ton. You look like a bag of spoiled milk. Man, it's a shame you don't have your face and body up as your profile picture so that we can all make fun of what you look like, but unfortunately you're a weak little pussy that's terrified of having that kind of commentary levied at you. I have no such fears. I don't care what you think I look like. You Yanks need to sort this out. Says the motherfucker that lives in the UK, where trans people actually have better access to gender affirming care than they do in the US. It's wild to declare a blockade a week after demanding an end to a blockade. It really is. That's why I keep saying this is not some brilliant strategic move by Trump and co. to retake control of the situation. This is a knee-jerk escalation that plays to Iran's favor that I don't think was thought out even a little. Why block something you want open? It doesn't make sense at all. You're 100% right, Philly Matt. That's what I'm saying. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It is a knee-jerk escalatory reaction that is meant to scare Iran into thinking that they have to capitulate to demands that are unreasonable. But Iran looks at that and they're like, oh, well, are you actually going to be able to enforce that? And then the U.S. Navy tries to transit the strait, and the IRGC turns them away, and they leave. So it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to. And it's like, all right, well, even if they do enforce the blockade from the other direction or whatever, like, what? At that point, America just looks like the bad guy, even worse than they already did. If you want it open so desperately, like the best and easiest way to do that would be to negotiate with Iran. And more of the world's nations are seeing that. The world citizenry has basically already realized this. It's just a matter of the systems that I don't know. I really don't know what is stopping the world's the various other world nations from stepping in to mediate some kind of end to this conflict, other than just utter blind loyalty to America and Israel. And it's against the will of the people, by the way, because there are just vast swaths of people all over the world that are opposed to those two hegemons. Question. The person we were speaking with yesterday was the Catholic was saying that there was a lot of scientific evidence in the Bible. I did not have enough information. Was any of that true? No. No, not really. Like we didn't, like it was getting so late that I didn't really want to get into that, and I wish we'd kind of like gotten into that earlier because it might have been a spicier conversation. And I do intend to go a little harder on the next one. I kind of wanted the religious ode to be more exploratory, but maybe the next religious ode will be, maybe the next religious ode will be more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Confrontational. But yeah, there is absolutely no like scientific evidence in the Bible. I don't know where anybody could get that from. Like, there might be some coincidentally accurate depictions of reality. I guess I would have to skim through it, to make sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's some coincidentally accurate depictions of reality, but there's also tons of things in the Bible that are just provably not true. It's like, I can't remember if it's Revelation or which book of the Bible it is, but I believe it's Revelation. It might not be though, but there is some book of the Bible that describes like the form and shape of the planet, and what it describes is a flat, like half dome, more or less, like a flattened half dome that rests on four pillars with an impenetrable firmament over it and heaven above that. And we know for a fact that the earth is round, that heaven is not anywhere up there, that our atmosphere is penetrable. We know at this point the vastness of space. We have such a profound understanding of the natural world that all of the physical explanations for the world and the universe that are given in the Bible are pretty much provably wrong at this point. Do you think it's better for an entire country to believe in a higher power and follow the morals the Bible teaches? No. No, this idea is actually pretty fundamental to neoconservatism, and it's a modern elaboration on the idea of the noble lie. And I've always thought that it's a bad guide for modern moral systems. I think that we know enough at this point about the human brain, and we know enough at this point about human society to where we can reason out our moral codes pretty well with popular consensus. I think that we can arrive at a pretty agreeable sense of righteousness without any kind of religious text to guide us in that direction. And, my evidence for that is that there's plenty of societies that people consider overall pretty moral, that don't follow the particular religious text that is Christianity and the Bible. Certain people need religion. Napoleon knew that some people need the fear of eternal torment to be good people. Maybe, but I like to think that we're better than that. When David Koresh comes back, you're going to be sorry, atheists. Maybe. LMAO, these are the people who voted against Trump. Motherfucker says as Trump is literally about to start World War III. Or I'm sorry, it's not even starting. He's like continuing to prosecute World War III. It's just a matter of time before Russia and China get fully involved. Phoebe, I would love an episode on why people who get out of a cult find themselves back into another. Ooh. Ooh. All right. That's an idea. That's an idea. I can already imagine the title. Yeah, no. That might be a good idea, actually. If we get rid of what the Bible teaches, don't you think that over time we will lose our objective morality? No. No. People had moral codes before the Bible, and people will have moral codes after the last Christian draws their last breath. We were talking about this last. Well, all our stock is on electric fence, so I guess it's fine. But like, who the fuck got their dog out here just roaming around? Fucking hillbillies. Margot with the $5. Thank you so much. If the Christian God was verifiably real, I still wouldn't worship it. I'd never be so submissive to such an unjust figure. And I think that that's actually a totally like justifiable reaction. I think that is totally understandable, actually. Wasn't your dog? No. No. That's why I reacted that way. I mean, if you're a dog owner and you've got a dog that's got like a bark that you regularly hear, you get pretty used to hearing it and it doesn't really cause much of a reaction after a certain time. Like, if you've got a dog that only barks very occasionally, that might catch your attention, but that, was not an instance of that. It was just like, who the fuck? Why would a God demand worship at all? He don't. That's why I gave you free will. That's bullshit, though, because the whole proposition of free will in Christianity is bullshit. Because you're compelled in Christianity. There's a gun held to your head, which is hell. If you don't worship God, if you don't believe in Christ, etc., you're going to hell. So you don't have free will. Even if you have the ability to make a choice, that will is being influenced. If you believe the mythos, which I don't, but if you do believe genuinely in the myths that you believe in, and you believe them to be actual truths about the universe, then you cannot say that you have free will. Not in any sense of the word. You have compelled will. And you realize that actually makes it worse. It would be one thing if God created nothing but the angel class, which was created solely for the purpose of worship and usefulness to God. Instead, he created a race of beings who can choose. Do you want to be eternally punished or eternally rewarded with the right to worship God forever? It's unfeasible as reality and disgusting as fantasy. And I don't know why some people lust after it as a perspective that they should live their lives by. I'm personally not a believer that we are born with a specific set of morality, but I don't think we need religion to have morals. Morals change with time and culture. Yeah. No matter what you believe about religion, the actual morals that a society lives by change with time, cultural mores, even across different geographies. Can't have a satanic pendulum in your room and say you don't believe in God. You are literally worshiping his creation. Maybe you couldn't have a satanic pendulum in your room and not believe in God. I, because I don't believe in magical fairies and fucking gods and goddesses and crazy bullshit, I can have whatever I want in my room without worrying about whatever spooky magical connotations that it might have. It's actually really freeing. You should try it sometime. Can it just be Satan is pretty metal? I think that's the truth. Christians want to deny it, but it is the objective truth of the world. How do you think the FBI should have handled Waco? Ooh. Remind me of the details of the case real quick, Taylor, if you don't mind. I'll remember a lot more about it when you remind me who it involves, because I get Waco and Ruby Ridge and other shit mixed up. But remind me which one Waco was, and I'll start to piece it back together. Do you like hypothetical questions? They can be fun sometimes if it's like really like an interesting one that plays on like um philosophy and politics, like Taylor's question about Waco or something. You know, it can be interesting for sure. Um, won $1 million, but your legs are cut off the knees and you can hover. Sure, and I can hover because the thing is, like at this point, we've got really good prosthetics, and they are working on prosthetics that don't even need any interaction from your muscles or any of your bones or anything like that. Like they just use your brain and like the nerve impulses or some shit. I don't know how exactly it works, but like at this point, you can like lose your legs below your knees and then get them back with technology. And especially if I can hover too, seems like a win-win solution to me. Well, if I have to hover, then nah. If I had to hover, like fucking Baron Harkonnen or some shit, then nah. Yeah, I mean, I'm already fat. I don't need any more reasons for people to make the Baron Harkonnen fucking comparison, okay? I get the hovercraft, and I get the $1 million, and I get some drip. Next thing I know, somebody's making the joke like, ha, it's trans Baron Harkonnen. That fucking dog is throwing me off, man. I don't know whose fucking dog that is, but what the fuck is that black goo? What black goo? Part of me wonders if I should like yell at it to go away or something, you know? But the other part of me is like, is it really hurting anything? No. Can it get into the animal pens? No. Well, probably not anyway. Eh. 'Cause what if I yell and make a fool of myself, but then it just stays and it's unfazed? Then not only have I possibly solved, not only have I failed to solve a non-problem, but I've also made a fool of myself in the process. It could be a trap. Yeah, what if it's a magical wizard that's trying to get me to like come to the window or come outside or something by like imitating a dog sound? Bro, it's not that I'm scared. I could fucking yell at it from the goddamn window. Even if I was scared, it's like, huh? That ain't the problem. The problem is, I don't even really know if it's, like, hurting anything. It's barking and kind of being annoying sometimes, but like I said, anything that could get hurt by it is protected with what is, you know, so far been a pretty effective fucking solution at keeping things that need to be in, and things that need to be out, out. So, I don't really know that it's hurting anything. And if I go yell at it and it doesn't leave, then like you guys are just gonna be yelling at me for like yelling at it fruitlessly. You do kind of look like you're dressed for a 70s horror movie. Do I? You're a goofball. That is true. That is true. Can't run from that one. Hey, isn't it great that there are still people like me out there? As fucked up as everything is, as crazy and intense and and everything as everyone is, isn't it great that there are still a few people out there like me that's like, a little jovial, a little whimsical. Isn't that nice? No, not really. You spread negativity. In what way? Hold on. Jay Seminole. What? How? In what way? Aw, hi, Aria. What kind of dog is this? I ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. I ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. I don't know if you're talking about me or the dog outside, but I thought I could make that into a moment, so I tried my best. She also occasionally likes to break out in a song. That is true. I am like a musical character, come to think of it. And you know what? I felt so good when I discovered the Black Foragers channel because I was like, yes, somebody else that breaks into song randomly when they want to. It was perfect. I was like, yeah, awesome, great. I'm not the only weirdo out there that does this shit. Cool. Not to mention, she knows like a billion different plants out there that are edible, that are just like sitting around at parks, roadsides. Although you shouldn't forage from a roadside. There's reasons why you shouldn't do that. I watch Black Forager. Fucking recommend her channel. She's awesome. I highly recommend her channel. Check her out. She's so fucking cool. Do you think China is crazy enough to supply weapons to Iran? At a certain point, it's just going to make logical sense for them to do so. China uses a ton of Iranian oil. Not only that, but China and Russia do not want America having control over the Strait of Hormuz. Dude, Paul's Ego just started a stream called Censored. He got censored? Yes, Taylor. One of these is poison and one is a snack. Yes, her. Yes. Ha. Yes. Yes, Taylor. Yes. Fuck. I wish I had two phones. I would go, I would have us raid Paul's Ego stream. I really wish I had two phones. I need two phones. One for my stream and one so that I can say go hide fucking... Never mind. I fucked it up. Well, whatever. My dad held a grocery bag open for my grandmother. I have explosive diarrhea on the side of the freeway. That's disgusting, but kind. Charlie Kirk predicted the Iran war, and he predicted how Iran would react in response to the war. Pretty wild. That is pretty wild. Charlie Kirk wasn't wrong about every fucking thing he said. It's actually kind of a shame. You know, sometimes I look at a guy like Charlie Kirk or even Ben Shapiro, and I see in both of these dudes bright guys who could have chosen not to grift for the right wing, who could have put that intelligence towards bettering the world, who instead chose the path of least resistance and maximal harm. A Reich winger, a Reich winger. That's fucking funny. Every single German dances to the strain of the "I was not a Nazi" polka. All without exception join in the refrain of the "I was not a Nazi" polka. Goring was a crazy, we wanted to deport. Sing the "I was not a Nazi" polka. Ben Shapiro smells like an oldie, but I just can't prove it. I tell you what, I bet he does smell good. Because, like, for some reason, a lot of rich conservative guys like having like a really high priced cologne and shit. I don't know. It's not that like poor lefties will lather ourselves up in all kinds of essential oils and smell good stuff too. So it's not like there's any kind of like class distinction or political distinction there. It's just like a tendency that I've noticed. It's like average people of no particular inclination or like no particular lean towards one class direction tend to just like smell like normal, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. But, you know, like I feel like normally if I'm standing next to someone that I can smell a little bit of cologne coming off of them, it's usually like an elderly or older man that's like a pastor or something. And you can just kind of tell by the way he talks and the way he's like dressed. If I ask Paul, would you want to join in a stream with him or don't bother him? Sure, you can ask him if you want to. Yeah, ask him what he means by the title. If anybody else wants to go over there, tell Paul Zigo that Phoebe said, hi, what's up? He's streaming over on the Poltergeist. ThePaulTergeist. Be like, Phoebe says hi, with love, or something, you know. Be nice, is the point I'm trying to drive home. But I'm a bit high, so... What would you like to talk about? Why? Is there an offer on the table? Hell, I don't know. Fuck, I don't know. I don't know what Paul's streaming about. I don't know what kind of mood Paul's in. I found that if you want to target Paul for a spontaneous conversation, you kind of have to judge what kind of mood he's in. No, I have yet to say anything. I figure he would ask. Yeah, he might ask. Just be like, okay. Tell him I think he's, okay. Tell him I think he's right full of crap, saying that Israel's got something on Trump, and that's why this war is being prosecuted, and that I think it's just a cadre of billionaire interests collaborating with Zionists of Christian and Jewish variety to make it happen because it benefits them. There you go. I don't know. You can also pick some other topic. I don't know what he's talking about. That's the thing. I'm curious about what his title is about. Jesus. I don't care that you broke your elbow vibes. What? I would care if you broke your elbow. That's a lot. You don't have to say it all. I'm just, oh my God. Matt, motherfucker, you asked for a topic. You were like, what do you want me to say? Wait, just... You're the one responsible for condensing it into a readable format, okay? You're the one who's got to figure out how to fit all that into the character limit, not me. What I want the rest of you guys to do is to go over to the Poltergeist and say hi. Literally, just scroll down. You can, and he might be the very next stream you see. Old beardy guy sitting out in like a back porch. You'll fucking the Poltergeist. His profile picture is like green, kind of. Just say like Phoebe says hi, and make sure that there's like a little heart or something so that it's clear it's with love. Because I have read into this. YouTube does still allow you to do raids as long as it's clearly for promotion of the other channel and with love and like as long as it's meant like in good faith, basically. So go be nice to Paul. Talk about Mossad. I will be honest with you guys. I only started becoming like more educated on the whole like Israel issue in the last like 2 years since the genocide began. So I am not somebody that can sit here and regale you of tales of Mossad's involvement in every conflict since the fucking Second World War. I am not that kind of scholar. Fuck you, Chris Hansen. Piece of shit. You can turn normal and make your parents proud still. It's funny you say that. I just happened to talk to my mom today, and I was telling her about I was telling her about how much I've made just this month in April alone, and she was like, "Dang, well, that's crazy. I'm so proud of you." It was just, like I've heard that plenty of times. She's always been good about that kind of thing, but it was like the real, just astoundment in her voice, and I was like, "Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool, right?" It sounds like he's in a deep combo with Amelia about Sopranos again. I can't get a word in. I don't want to spam. Well, the rest of you should still scroll down until you find the Poltergeist channel and say, hello from Phoebe with love. Because eventually he'll see one of you guys' comments and he'll be like, oh, hey. But yeah, he does the same kind of stream, except he tends to be even more chill than I am. And he talks way more about like pop culture shit and esoteric kind of shit, that kind of stuff. Like, follow me if you like the fucking constant grind of news and politics and religious talk and philosophy and like the interplay of these different things. If you like to be on that grind, hey, I love to have you. We love to have conversations. We love a diverse array of people to have those conversations with. But if you do like these vertical streams where people are interacting with the chat to build their conversation, you should also check out the Poltergeist if you like more pop culture oriented stuff, more esoteric topics, yeah, fucking the non-political side of philosophy, the fucking like deeper meanings of shit, psychology, just shit that's not necessarily tied up in the current events grind that we tend to be doing over here. I like to recommend this channel every so often, so fucking go over there, spread some love. He's streaming right now, and say, hi. Phoebe says hi with love. Just do it for me. I don't know why I was sitting there like that this whole time. God damn, look at that critter. I like it. I like it. I like that I'm a critter now. That feels like an accomplishment. We can be friends even though I'm a fascia. You can be whatever kind of plant you want to be. Why would I care? You can be a hibiscus. You can be a fascia. You can be a lobby palm. I knew you meant fascist, but it was a lot funnier to say fascia, you know? And like, you meant the plant. Oh. King Bugs with the $10. Thank you so much, King Bugs. I love you. I appreciate it. I thought fascia was in reference to flesh. Is it a plant? Yeah, there's a plant called a fascia. It's like a doctor's office plant. Pass that thing, baby. Here you go. Paul said thanks for the 5. Oh, did you go over there and super chat for me? That's good. If you actually did. If you didn't, that's fucked up. If you didn't, you should fucking do it right now. Go super chat Paul since I can't. I didn't, someone else did. Really? Did they really? I'm gonna have to check it out. That's funny. King Bugs donated $10 to Paul. Hey, that's cool. That's awesome. Thank you, King Bugs. I appreciate it. Good faith raid successful. Yeah, he laughed and said, thanks, I guess, for sending $5 to say that. Yeah, there you go. See, I told you guys, you know, we kept sending enough messages. If I compelled y'all's will enough, I could get there. Matt said he sounds uninterested in anything but Sopranos. That's fine. Old man Paul's got better things to do than to jibber jabber with you, Phoebe. That's basically what I'm hearing in my head. Do you think history is important for politics? I think history is fundamental to politics. You can't, I don't think you can make any educated political decisions unless you understand a thing or two about history. I want to call you anything other than scabs. What? Yeah, follow Matt's advice and try again. I had to ask that because I was watching another streamer and they said not really. Who was the other streamer? And do you know who it was? That just sounds like such an uninformed, or I don't know. It sounds like a colossally stupid thing to say, in my opinion. I don't remember TBH, some blonde chick. No stereotypes were harmed in the making of that live stream. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't really think about history when I'm talking about politics. Like, who cares what happened in the past? Like, why would that even matter? I just don't get it. Like, what matters is like what's happening right now. And like, who cares what happened like 30 years ago? I wasn't even alive back then. I don't even know if my parents were alive back then. Like, oh my god, why does anybody care about this dude named Hitler? I don't get it. Yeah, dude. Holy shit. Paul also smoking a joint. United across you know, across space-time. History is the foundation of world politics as to why it is today. Going back so far, you can trace roots to most things today. Yeah, no, I know. We were making fun of somebody because Philly Matt said something about this streamer. He asked about is history important to understanding politics? And she said no. And I was like, well, wait, what? Who streamer? And that's when he told me it was a blonde girl, and I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. I don't think that all blondes are dumb, but obviously it lends itself to a dumb blonde joke. So I just had to do like a dumb blonde girl, valley girl kind of thing, I had to do the bit. I'm sorry. It called out to me. Girls like that would bully me in school, so like this is just my revenge on them from across space-time. Thank you for the gift memberships. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Phoebe, you should be happy because I did not switch to Paul's stream. I don't really care about Sopranos. I am. I mean, that's why I think it's like I don't know. I guess that's why I feel pretty like confident in my like distinction as like a vertical streamer presence or whatever, is because like I didn't, when I first started doing this, I was basing a lot of it off of ideologies and the vertical streams that Paul does and stuff like that. But as I've gotten more into it and I've refined my own style and everything, it's really started to become its own beast. And at this point, I feel like listening to one of my streams or participating in one of my streams, watching it, whatever, is a pretty fundamentally different experience from watching or listening to a Paul stream. And that's good. They're like, Paul gets viewers over there. I get viewers over here. There's always a good conversation going over here. There's always a good conversation going over there. And it's awesome. It's a demonstration of how two content creators that ostensibly do the exact same format of content um, on this format, right? Where we're talking to the chat or we're talking to somebody in the room or something like that. But we're having conversations. But the experiences are so profoundly different, even within that kind of like subgenre. And then you think about all the like different variety of content that is available on the shorts feed broadly. People are live streaming all kinds of things vertically these days. It's really fucking cool. And to me, it's really neat that I've been able to carve out a little niche here where I've, in my opinion, I fit pretty neatly. How much do you think ancient empires influence modern day politics? Um, Honestly, probably more now than they used to, because like modern leaders have have a much wider degree of knowledge and a much wider degree of access to knowledge than leaders 300, 400, 500 years ago would have had. We know way more about those ancient empires than we ever did before. We're constantly learning more all the time, and that means that more of them are studying the mythologies and the histories of these ancient empires, and I'm sure that that does influence the decision-making process that goes on in their heads. So probably more now than it used to, when you think about the fact that um, during the Dark Ages, a lot of countries in Europe were trying to figure out how to do their own thing without the Roman Empire. And you think about how many um, countries have tried to get away from the influence of these ancient empires. But now, especially with like figures in the Trump administration and in high levels of the American government, you start to see kind of like this seeming return to older, more primitive ways of thinking. And it makes me feel like, yeah, there is kind of like a slow regression that might be driven by the higher degree of access and knowledge that we have about um, these way older governmental structures. So many modern leaders certainly appeal to the ancient these days. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you listen to their language, tons of them appeal to the ancient. If you look at their propaganda, like look at what the Department of War has been putting out, or any of these like Trump administration uh, um, look at any of these Trump administration cronies in the different uh, like cabinet positions. All of them, all of those departments now put out propaganda that echoes back to this weird romanticized conception of older times. Some of it ancient, some of it more recent, but all of it old. When are you going to play Minecraft? Not even trolling. Is there a demand for me to play Minecraft? I don't really think there is. Would be fun though. I tell you what, I should use some of the money I make this month to upgrade my PC. I at the very least need to upgrade the RAM and the video card. I don't know though. I don't know. Hmm. I'm gonna have to look into it again. I went to whatever you call it, like vocational school basically, for half my high school years for like computer science basically, with like a hyper focus on networking. But part of that education was understanding what the different parts of a computer do, how they work together, how to safely build a computer without cutting out any of the parts, how to use like an anti-static bracelet and uh, mat and all that. Uh, but I don't remember a lot of that shit anymore, because that was like 15 fucking years ago at this point. So I would have to refresh my knowledge to know for sure what I need to prioritize. But I think based off of the speed issues that I encounter already, what I probably need to do is focus on RAM and a better graphics card. But maybe I should go with a better processor. I just don't know. And it's funny because trans girls are always renowned for being like, big computer geeks, but like, I mean, I know enough to get myself in trouble, but, you know. I guess I know enough to keep myself out of trouble, really. Because I know about the anti-static bracelet. Pretty wild that people in the 1930s still had thoughts about reestablishing the Roman Empire and its culture. I know, it is kind of crazy, right? But that, in and of itself, was born of a revival of knowledge about these ancient empires and a revived interest in, like, learning about and rediscovering these older civilizations. You should hold a troll comment contest, and we can rank them. I should. I'll keep an eye out for good ones. And I'll tell you guys this much: if anybody from the community spots a particularly good troll comment, or if you catch one that elicits a really good response from me or something, screenshot it and submit it to me. Probably the easiest way to do that is through my Twitter, or I don't really know, but I'm sure you can figure out some way to do it. If you're already a member of my Discord, you can. But I had to lock down the Discord, at least for a couple of days, till I can learn more about Discord's backend and figure more shit out. Do taxpayers cover your life expenses? Nope. My audience does. Speaking of which, if you'd like to donate to the channel because you enjoy the content, consider sending a super chat with the little button down there, or sending a donation via Cash App. Cash App is preferred because they don't take a fee and they can use it instantly. That's linked down below. But otherwise, super chat is right there. Kid, you are lost. Calm down and try finding what you are. I have found what I am, and I have never been more comfortable with it. It seems like you might be the one who's got a problem with what or who I am. Fake personality sounds like projection. Sounds like you might be a person who spends all your life masking, like you've never been real for a second, and you don't know what it's like to be real, so you see a real person, and then you're like, oh, weird. Baby, stop freaking out. Okay, I'll stop. Okay. You can't accept yourself? I literally do accept myself, huh? I'm a trans woman who's perfectly open about it, who talks about it, like, willingly all the time. What happened to the chat went from normal to complete hate in 2 seconds? YouTube is very strange with how its algorithm works. You really have to just ride through moments like this with the understanding that it passes with time. Did we ever find out why Paul's stream was called censored, by the way? Because that was the big thing I was curious about in the first place. No, I'm very comfortable with myself, but you are suffering. How do you know I'm suffering? What makes you think I'm suffering? Once again, projection. You look at everything around you and see suffering because you might be going through something yourself. That's the most likely explanation for why you cannot help but look at a reasonably well-adjusted and happy person like myself and see suffering that isn't there. Why do some people care about some people's personal lives so much? Ultimately, there are two reasons why some people care about trans people in particular so much. Either they don't feel like they are fully able to express their real gender identity fully. They are constrained by the, you know, um, social situation of their lives. Like they're hard right Christian conservatives, and their whole family is that way, and everyone expects that of them, and their church is that, and all their social group is built around that. And so they've got no outlet for these feelings. And seeing a person like me out there being happy, having regular conversations, being out here and not caring what people think about me, that pisses them off because it fundamentally challenges a basic precept of their life, which is the idea that they have to live the way that they do. That no matter how they feel on the inside, the only person who can ever know that they feel um, best in women's clothes is their wife, maybe. If their wife happens to be nice enough to let them, play around with that in the privacy of their bedroom and that alone. That's as far as a lot of these guys ever get to exploring their gender identity. And so they see someone like me, someone who lives as a trans woman and has done so for 6 years, and they're like pissed off at a visceral level because it represents like a challenge to what they've kind of always lived. They've always lived under the assumption that's just a fact, but then they meet someone like me and it's just like, oh, clearly it's not. So they've got to invent all these reasons why it can't be true. And then there's the other part. There's the other part of the people, which are people that are attracted to trans people, but also can't be honest about it for largely the same reasons, like social reasons. They can't be honest about how they're attracted to trans people, but they do want attention from trans people. They want my attention. They want me to talk to them. So instead of, um, um, instead of just being nice to me and trying to engage in regular conversation, they spew a bunch of hate. That way, if their wife borrows their phone real quick while they're um, talking in my stream, if she looks and sees why they're listening to a trans woman, she can see, oh, they're just being hateful and shit. And maybe she'll make some joke about him being so hateful or something, but his ass is saved. He got to get attention from a trans woman. He got to get a little jerk off material for later, and also was able to preserve the picture that his girlfriend or wife has of him, that he is not turned on to trans people, or by trans people, I should say. Y'all are only angry to elicit reactions and not have any meaningful conversation with somebody who's different from you at all. And it's scary that you have someone to come. Yeah, no, like literally, they would have so much, like they would have like so much of a better time if they would just be normal human beings, get off their high horse, and engage like people. But that's too much for some people. They have this mental block that makes them unable to engage on a person-to-person level once they get on the internet. Anonymity is a dangerous drug for some people. Or, I'm sorry, the presumption of anonymity. It's a very dangerous drug. People love to be keyboard warriors when they don't have to deal with the problem face to face. Yeah, I mean, that's not even to say that I'm some like tough bitch or anything. I'm not. Like, I'm not a fighter, but like there's social consequences when you're a dickhead in public that there are not when you're a dickhead online. This is a rug pull. Sell, sell, sell. Huh? What? You're unemployable? Luckily for me, I work for myself. Speaking of which, if you'd like to support the channel, consider sending a Cash App donation. That's linked down below, or donating via Super Chat. It's appreciated a ton. You can also gift memberships, as King Bugs has been doing all night. Most of chat are isolated psychopaths that don't know how to speak to a woman. Well, that's just evidenced by the way they talk to me. If nothing else, you know. People love. Oh yeah, I read Phillies already. These people come to Phoebe and act as if Phoebe is seeking them out. Yeah, they come to me complaining as if I like handpicked them from the audience and brought them to me. Like you're the one who scrolled to the stream and chose to go to it. Paul sent trolls? Nah, I don't think Paul sent any trolls. Even if Paul did, that's cool. I'm gonna need a better source. What do you think of Palantir? Death cult technology. It's scary, not necessarily because I think it's instantly going to be used against American citizens in like an immediate sense, but because of the capabilities that it affords. Not just the United States government, but any other government that gets a hold of that technology at any point. The J ain't even lit. Yeah, no, it went out. It's one of those. It's not the best pre-roll in the world. It keeps going out, so I have to keep relighting it. I've been invested in Palantir since COVID. Well, I bet you're doing pretty well now. You should be scared of Palantir if you love state-sponsored surveillance. Or you mean if you hate state-sponsored surveillance? Somebody said you're a loser, and so is anyone that supports someone like you. And then King Bug sent another $10. Hell yeah! Hell yeah, King Bugs. Fist bump. Thank you so much. You know, I appreciate it. Are you missing some teeth? Nope. They're crookedy and uneven, bit yellowed, but they're all there. Even my wisdom teeth, which they've been actually giving me some trouble lately. I'm going to have to get them extracted. Hopefully, the income stream continues to go up as it has been through this year, and maybe by this time next year, I can afford to have all 4 of them taken out. Maybe even before then. That'd be cool. Because I got to thinking about it the other day, and I was like, you know what? I wonder how many like mood problems and like weird like stress things like when like I know that like things being wrong with your body can affect your mental health profoundly. And so I just wonder, and I got to thinking about it the other day, and I was just looping this thought. What if the reason why I get so stressed out sometimes I can't figure it out is because the it's not that the wisdom teeth are causing me direct pain that I can necessarily feel, but they're like fucking something up or causing like a stress response or something. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily make any sense. It's not like I went on some research rabbit hole that led me there. It's just like thinking about that basic correlation. Just it worries me. And I just wonder, would my general health improve if I did that? Probably. Kind of one up King Bug, sorry. Oh shit. Cat Cardane with the $20. Thank you so much for the $20. I appreciate it. Look at that. One upped, King Bugs. Holy shit. If you got timed out, it's because you're boring. Yeah, basically. Easiest defense to get timed out for. What psychological issues have you been diagnosed with by a doctor and not yourself? I don't believe in self-diagnosis, so, like, the only known psychological issues that I definitely have are autism, yeah, pretty much like autism. They diagnosed me with ADHD too, but from my understanding, those are very often like diagnosed as 2 separate conditions when in fact the symptoms of one are being mistook as the symptoms of another. Um, but I don't know. The autism one is the one that's stuck. As far as other diagnoses I've gotten through the years, I was once prescribed Celexa for depression when I was a teenager, but the Celexa did not help, and I have the sneaking suspicion that whatever's going on up here is probably a little more complicated than mere depression. So, I guess that, but it's like that diagnosis was over 10 years ago, and I was a teenager, so it's like, But autism is not something that you like grow out of or can have therapy to like treat. You can definitely have therapy that can teach you like ways to cope with it better, and you can like have therapy that gets like that enables you to be like better at public speaking and socialization and stuff. So I guess in that way there are treatments. Do you feel like the autism affects you harshly? You keep it together on stream, so I can't really tell. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it definitely does. I'm a lot more, for all the shit talk that people give me about my cleanliness and hygiene, I'm way more persnickety about it than you would imagine. Um, Given like my life history and the way I dress and everything, like I'm very sensitive to the way my clothes smell, for example. So if you see me wearing the same outfit for multiple days in a row, it's because like either I switched into a different outfit whenever I was doing whatever sweaty shit I did, or I didn't do no sweaty shit that day. And I'm like, okay, I can hold that over to the next day. But the moment I catch like a whiff of like, oh, there's like sweat coming off that, like the second I catch a whiff of it, it's like, nope, can't wear that. I'm going to feel filthy if I wear that. I'm very sensitive to my hair feeling like greasy to the touch. I hate it. It just feels like repulsive. So, I probably wash my hair on the whole more than I should because of that. Because I just don't like the feeling of my hair not being like somewhat recently washed. I've gotten better about it, but still a thing I deal with. I would say that the way that my autism affects me the most is in how difficult it is for me to alter a day-to-day pattern. I can know that I need to do something, but it's not something that up to that point has been a part of my day-to-day routine. And so I will just not do it. I will put it off and put it off and put it off. And then by the time, when the time finally rolls around that I could do it, I'm going to bed. And it is incredibly hard for me to change up my like day-to-day beat to beat routine to accommodate new patterns for productivity's sake or whatever. That can be a real impediment. Ultimately, it's something that I can work around. It's something that I have to work against to make my life function. But if there's one thing that serves as a greater impediment because of the way my brain works than any other thing, it's probably that. I would recommend it if you have a good memory for math formulas and you're good at pattern recognition. Getting into the industry is really difficult these days. What now? Oh, you're fine. I hate how vocal fryish my voice gets as the night goes on. I feel like by the end of the night I sound like a trans Larry King live. I don't like it. And that's it for another night of Phoebe Ophi Live. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast, and I hope you'll join me again for another broadcast tomorrow. It's like not a good look. Phoebe sounding like Louis Armstrong. Shut up. It's even worse. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I don't sound like Louis Armstrong at all. Fuck you. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends holding hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. God damn it. That's a fucking hard impression to do. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. God damn it. Holy shit. I think I'm about 40 years premature being able to do that actually for real. Oh my god. What is happening? Everybody was making fun of me for the vocal fry in my voice. Matt said I sounded like Louis Armstrong. So I sang What a Wonderful World in my own voice at first, and then I wanted to go the next step, and so I did. And I did a Louis Armstrong impression, and then everybody loved it. So I did more. You have a day job or YouTube only? YouTube only. Phoebe Armstrong isn't real. She can't hurt you. Phoebe Armstrong. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Real question, do female to male transition people have to file in-service papers for drafts? That's actually a really good question. I do not know. I genuinely have no idea. I would imagine no. Especially given that trans people aren't allowed to serve in the military. At least under this administration. It'll probably change next Democratic administration, but still. I don't know for sure, though. The chaos wave is wafting over the stream. I like that. What is this monster I've given birth to? What indeed? Hmm. You have a chair to sit on that will kill your posture, huh? What? I think the song I'm trying to remember, or not remember, but the song I'm trying to like teach myself from memory is not a song I actually remember well enough to do so with. So I'm just gonna have to think of something else. I'm feeling music-y, but I don't know what to play. So I'm just like going through the motions of like thinking of old songs, you know. What a Wonderful World, my normal voice. I don't know if I can play that. I guess I can, actually, yeah. I see. But can I remember all the words? That's the real question. I see trees, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces. Fuck. Pretty in the sky are also on the faces. People passing by, I see friends holding hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I figured I should go, more low-key for that one. Thank you, Post. Thank you, Matt. I can, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want to. Is this fascist channel? No, be gone. Man, I am just not feeling the motivation. You know what I'm feeling? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm hearing? Do you like bass guitar? Yeah. You know, it's funny you asked if this is a fascist channel. I just think it's ironic. It's one of those they them types. It's one of those she her types, actually, but close enough. Let me guess, Trump is literally Hitler? No, that would imply Trump was good at scaling up domestic manufacturing production. Oh. Ronald McDonald, does it ever get lonely being you? Does it ever get lonely? Same roll me through the gates of hell. I wish I had that kind of energy. Oh, but I do not have that kind of energy. I'm sorry. I'm legit trying to think if there's any song in the world out there that I have the energy to play right now. I don't think there is. I'll be real with you. I got the guitar out, and then, we played a couple of songs, and then I kept looking at the chat, and it was like 10% interesting people trying to be constructive, suggest songs, etc., and 90% just foolishness. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? Maybe on a night where I'd started streaming earlier, I would have the energy to overcome it and be like, well, fuck these idiots. I'm just going to play whatever I want. But in the face of looking at them for 15 minutes and waiting for the chat to come up with some kind of interesting axis on which to troll, I'm just glad that there is a 10% of you guys that are intelligent and reasonable, because, man, it would be slim pickings out here if not for you guys. Twinkle, twinkle. Are you suggesting it might be time for me to go to bed? Phoebe got wrinkle and timed. Maybe a little bit. How do you stay positive when we have a world like this? Unplugging sometimes can be helpful, honestly. I think unplugging sometimes can be helpful. Trying to keep in perspective that things do happen slowly and that there are things that you can do to reduce the effect that the enshittification of society has on your life individually and the lives of your neighbors more broadly. It's a combination of knowing there are things you can do in your life to make things better and not worrying as much. If you're having a hard time staying positive, it might, like because of the state of the world, it might be because you're spending a little bit too much time paying attention to it. You should pay attention to it. You should be aware. But you should also take some time to be unaware. You should take some time to watch movies, play video games, go on a walk without your phone. Just that alone is really good, like really good for you. Even if you take your phone with you, just not having an earbud in, not getting it out of your pocket or anything, and just taking in the sights and sounds along the way. Or if you've got a walking buddy, you can have a nice conversation while you walk. TMI, sometimes perspective gets skewed. Maybe I need to touch grass more. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but it might be worth thinking about. If you're feeling weighed down by the oppressive nature of the 24-hour news cycle and the reality that things are getting worse at a seemingly accelerated rate, the two things I would advise are look into things that you can do in your life to feel like you're affecting a change and unplug a little bit. Touch grass some. I tell you a really cheap way to touch grass and that's really fucking useful and really good. And it's something that my mom and I used to do when I was a kid. Um, I'm really glad that she did it with me too because it taught me the value of this tactic. Um, State parks, if you've got one near you, are very often incredibly cheap to stay in. If you're just staying at like a basic campsite where you're gonna park a car or something like that, but you don't need the full sewage hookup and all that shit. That can be incredibly cheap. Sometimes like $15 a night. And a lot of times those state parks have lots of other things you can do there, like hiking and fishing, depending on where you're at. Um, some of them have museums nearby. All kinds of stuff you can do, and you just make the simple rule that you're not gonna be on your phone, like to the best degree that you can help it. You're not gonna be on your phone, not listening to stuff, etc., etc. Now, if you're doing it alone, you might eventually have to listen to something just to break up the monotony, or not the monotony, but like eventually you might have to put something on in the background. But even then, you're taking a step that like you wouldn't have taken otherwise towards being connected to the actual here and now of where you live, or at the very least the environment you occupy, because we all live on the out there, in theory we all live outside. We just have very complicated boxes that we live inside of, but like those boxes are all outside. I don't know, dude. I'm so fucking high and tired that I'm just like rambling. At this point, I really am just yapping. Like, usually people say yapping when I'm going on a good rant. This time, I really am yapping. Just yapping to yap. But yeah, go on a camping trip if you can. Go to a state park. Fucking bring some. I tell you what, you know what's a great way to make friends if you're doing that? Bring a cooler full of stuff that you can make with a grill, like a campsite grill, and you know, find some fucking other campers slash, you know, then be like, hey, I've got this food, but like, I don't want to eat alone, and I don't want to like cook for just myself, kind of. So I'm like, you know, what if I made y'all dinner and like we hung out? Guarantee. You ask 3 people in a row, you're gonna get a yes somewhere in that mix. Hmm. Okay, well, the stream is retarded. Everyone but Post and chat is like saying some dumb shit. So I'm gonna go ahead and go. Bye, y'all. Damn it.